And now we're live. Okay, so there's one of those days where everything is going very south. Sometimes it is because of the lack of coffee. Sometimes it's because of too much coffee. I don't know what is happening today, but I think we're finally live, and I see the live is going somewhere. My name is Viktor Gamov, and I am developer advocate with Kong, and we're doing the third attempt. Finally, we're doing the third attempt to record this live stream. So one of those days, weather is terrible here in New Jersey. There's a bunch of crashes, black ice, how they call it. Today I'm going to be talking some stuff about containers, about Kong, and testing your services. So what happened earlier today? My stream was interrupted by power outage. Now I was late because of I was streaming to some other location. So many things going on. That things are happening with production when you do this alone. If you're seeing this, if anyone is actually seeing this right now, let me know if you're seeing this wherever you see this. If you watch this on YouTube, if you watch this okay, yeah, it looks like they were working fine. Finally. Okay, so I'm super happy now. So always have a producer who can help you to run the show. Okay, so small recap. Things that we discussed earlier today, and things I discussed in my first stream. As a second stream, when I started talking about the testing Kong, why it is important, why it is important for you. Every time when you try to move from something like how we call it, in a centralized environment, in the monolithical environment, and you want to make sure that the integrations work when you go into the microservices world, you need to test this. And testing stuff with containers, it is obvious choice in many cases, in many cases. And with frameworks that allow you to test with containers, like a test containers name, with those frameworks, you can do a lot of cool things. So today, I'll continue to showing you things that I did show on the previous week. So I started to build small library that will be wrapping some of the functionalities and providing you with opinionated config for your Kong configuration. Today, we're going to be I'll show you how you can use scripts to write your tests. I'll show you how you can do testing of some advanced things like services, Kong routes, and even enabling plugins, and test if your application will work in this environment. And at the end, if you stick around for quite some time, I will show you how you can use this same approach with Go code. Not only Java, not only Groovy that we will be using for scripting. So I just want to make sure that everyone sees me. If you do, make some noise in the comments. There was a very interesting day. Lack of coffee or too much coffee. I don't know, maybe. Yes, so switching to my screen now. The test containers. So test containers is the Java library, and I built a module for Kong, and this module we're going to be looking at today. So this is extension of generic containers that comes with test containers, and I'm providing some of the opinionated way how to start this container. In order to configure the output of this container, we are writing down into system out log. We're enabling some of the ports, for example, exposing admin port, and this is how we start. In order to access to certain URLs, I also provided the helper methods. For example, this is get admin URL, get proxy URL, etc. But today I want to focus, right now I want to focus, for starters, I want to focus on this like small use case. So in this use case, I want to run my test simple like this. As you can see, I already tried to do this. Just nothing. I don't need to have ID. I don't have any, I don't want to have any how we call it, like a build scripts and things like that. So we're going to be using this Groovy approach here. So Groovy has a very nice thing that allows me to define the Java dependencies in jars here. During the startup of the script, those dependencies will be downloaded and stored inside the local cache. So you don't need to download things again next time. So in this case, my test containers library would be used in my application. I'm using another library that allows me to perform HTTP calls. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing this. So I'm going to start with the new conc container. Where's that? New conc container, and we're going to be static. Def and conc container. So I'm creating this container with. So during the initialization of container, I can change, for example, command that I will be running. Remember, here I'm running this simple conc start, but you can increase level of verbosity. So in this case, it shows me -v. Also, I need to provide Docker image name.parse. So in this case, I will be using the conc 2.6. I'll show you how we can do this with different version of conc. Make it look nicer. Next thing that with environment variable. And with environment variable, I want to use the one with declarative config. So that's what I want to use with environment variable. I'm not putting the file here yet, so I'm not mounting files. I'll show you a quick neat trick that you can use here. And inside my method that will be executed before all the tests, I can do conc container.start. Also, before that, I want to do conc container with copy file to container. So I want to create a configuration file, but I'm not going to download this from the file system. I want to create this on the fly, and after that, inject it here. Mountable for coast, and let's call it conc Yaml. And we'll create this one, and I will use this location where I will copy this file. So I will create the file during my script. Start time will inject this file in the container, and after that, tell the conc where to find this. So, I will be using this guy. Now, with this, I want to do file, create temp file, call it conc YAML, and no suffix. With closure, that will return some value, true. And with this closure, I can say delete file on exit. It will include write file. And I need to go YAML. So how I can create this? There's a couple of ways how I can create this YAML. The first thing, the simplest way how you can do this is do something like def YAML equals multi-line string. So the copy this guy and include this as a multi-line. So in this case, this file would be, in this case, this string would preserve formatting, which is important for YAML. And after that, with this file would be injected here into this system. So I need to have a file conc YAML. And now we have a file that will be have some of the temp name. By the end, I can do print line a YAML to string absolute path. So we're gonna print this out so we can see this file was created. When the application will be done, the file will be deleted afterwards, courtesy of Java framework here. Another option would be instead of this, doing something like you can say YAML new YAML Builder. So Groovy has this neat feature called Builder, YAML Builder. And when I do something YAML Builder and use this, and this, oops, fat fingers. Okay. Okay. So what we can do here, and when I do YAML to string, YAML Builder to string, it also will generate file. So it's another option to how you can create the YAML file here. I will show another option that is available for some of the API. Now, not gonna use this one. We're gonna be using simple string for now. And I'll just do YAML. Now, so we start a container. Next thing is that I'll just do get con container, get admin URL, then status code is 200. So we will start a container, check the call admin URL, return 200, and doing something. If we're hitting the admin URL, we received a JSON that will include some of the information. But we'll take a look on this one in a few seconds. So let's run it. Let's see if it actually works. Okay, all right, so looks like we're still running. Let's see. The test passed. Okay, so we received this. How we can make sure that the test is passed? First of all, there's a couple of things that we can observe here. So we can run this this container with additional logger. So for example, if I would just do con container with log consumer new SLF4j. As you can see here, I'm using SLF4j, not the log4j, so it's not the log4j, not log4j thingy. Also, Groovy allows me, using this annotation, it allows me to generate this logger that will be available for me. So in this case, it will be using this logger. So the output of this container will be captured and displayed in the log. So let's take a look. So let's take a look what we will see here. We're doing a little bit smaller so we can see the output. So this is where we start seeing the output from the container. So this is the container starting. This is the std output. So this is the output of the container. We have inside this in this container we have the admin log. So the output goes into std out. So let's take a look. Now the magic happens here. So it picked up our configuration file. So now we can do something interesting. For example, we can introspect the body, and we can say body will have let's take a look. Let's fail this test. Matchers contains string. I don't know, like something like this. Contains string in Nginx, and we will run this test and see if what we will see here. Slightly smaller. There's nothing really interesting happening here. I just want to. Okay, so we failed. Now we failed, and because no such method no such contains string of string contains. Wait. Let's see. What about contains string? Okay, what about this one? Which method we failed? No such method. Let's see. Let's rerun this. Okay, it works. Now it works. Also, what we can do something like or we can do something from get. Pick. Can we do pick? Yeah. So pick function allows us to dump output of this. So when we call this, it will display this in our console. It's up and running. We call in admin. And one big file, one big response. So that's response that comes from the admin API. Every time when you call, when you run the conc and run this admin API, and you can do multiple interesting things. And thankfully, this library allows us to do something like header, and this header has the matcher. So we need to have, for example, header server. And it contains string contains string, also matchers. Let's do this one. Input on demand, and we'll do contains string, something like conc. Okay, I'll just do something 2.7.0. In order to run this, let's see if it fails. Okay, cool. It fails because what? 2.6. So server has not string contain 2.7. It has conc 2.6. So in this case, we'll just do 2.6. And let's do this something like inside the body. For example, this is body. Let's see tagline. So inside body, we have a tagline, welcome to conc. So this body, I can tell, is content type. Content type is and content type is JSON. So we need to make sure that this is JSON. If it's not JSON, it will throw something. If I will do, say, for example, HTML. And I can do like multi different things here. Okay, running the container again. Okay, it failed. failed. Why? Because we said content type HTML, but actually it was application JSON. So let's fix these two errors. So first one, we want to have HTML JSON. Now inside this, we want to have a tagline, and we need to have tagline welcome to Kong. That's how it's going to be our test. So in the locally it also uses Docker. If you can see here, it starts the container. So right now it runs in test containers. And the cool thing is that we do have the ARM-based container inside the Kong open source, and it works. It works great. Tests are green. We don't need to have this peak anymore. But hey, you know, it's good to have it. It's good to have it. Now there's a how you can run this thing like in the places where you don't have a if you don't have a Groovy installed. How you can do that? So it's also totally fine because there is a if I go to hub.docker.com and I'll search for Groovy. There's a Groovy image, so you can use Groovy image to run this, include the scripts inside this image, and execute this test container thingy. So you don't have to have a Groovy installed per se, but because there's Docker image that allows you to do that. All right, so that's first thing that I wanted to show. So first things we're doing today is new scratchpad. So we will do ASCII doc. So first thing is use Groovy to write your scripts. So we done this. Now you know you can easily write this script and using all the libraries that you want. So the next thing is that I wanted to do something more. So remember in here, so we're using this YAML as a string that is already here. This YAML thing is it's not developer friendly, right? So it's not developer friendly. It's not very you know, the errors would be the same and indentation would be a huge problem if it will happen. So I start playing around with the idea of having DSL. So I created this another branch. You can see this in test containers here, but I will show you locally how it looks like. So if I go to my test containers and where I am inside this, and yeah, I'm already in this branch, so I'm using Kong schema. So before that, so I also showed how you can use this test with different with one version, and we have a predefined version 2.6. I want to have ability to run my test with different version of Kong. So for example, I want to implement a test for my scripts and make sure that those scripts will not break if I need to use different version of Kong. So in this case, I use this feature called parameterized test, and I provide the version of Kong image as a parameter here. So I created a Kong container with the community image, and I'm passing this the versions inside here using this value store concept. So and after that, I also starting Kong, and for each version of this, I'm testing that this version will be correspond to version that I'm running. So if I run this, even though it looks like just a one test, right? So it has just a one test, one method in this case. But when I run this with the JUnit runner, it actually creates two tests. One test will use conc version 2.6. And as we can see here, it uses container image 2.6. And now, what we can see here, conc 2.7, we're also using this. So two versions started. One with version 2.6 started, right? And another one with version 2.7. So that's pretty cool, and that's how you can do cool things with this. Like you can test different scenarios and how you will be running this in a different version of conc. And this is the great way how to make sure that your code is working fine. So next thing is that how you can do this with enterprise code. So for example, I do have an image that will be using conc gateway 2.6. And in this case, conc gateway 2.6, it's enterprise version of conc gateway. And what I wanted to check if the UI that comes with the enterprise version works fine. So there was one question on the Stack Overflow here. This is a question on the Stack Overflow how I can configure and use the conc manager, and I think, okay, I think this is a great example how this testing scenario might work. So I went ahead and created a test that will reproduce the values that this gentleman or lady, I don't know, this person in the Stack Overflow have created. So I created this test that will reproduces what they do. In this case, I created it, the config that includes conc admin API URI and admin GUI URL. So we need to pass this in order. So we need to pass admin URI inside the configuration for conc manager, so conc manager knows where to hit. Now, I know that conc manager is HTML page, so response when I try to get access to admin URL is it needs to be content type HTML. Also, I can use this HTML path object in order to navigate through this. And I will show you. I will enable peek. Now you know what the peek does. I enable the peek to look inside. And another one is that I want to make sure that we're running conc enterprise. So in this case, I am also enabling peek here. So if I want to run this, I can just do. Now I'm running this as a part of my build. Test starting, we're initializing tests, everything works fine. The test container component is up and running. Now, notice this thing. I would like to fix this in a few seconds. So now we are running a emulation. So I got the new laptop over Christmas, and now I'm running this conc image in emulation inside my ARM. Now, what I can see here, if I want to explore what do we have here, specifically, I wanted to explore my output. With this output, headers, access control origin conc, that would be, oh, I found the bug. I found the bug in my code. So the UI needs to get access to admin requests. So in this case, need to fix that. Yep. Now the server running Enterprise Edition. This is the output from admin API. If I want to take a look on, my output of Conk Manager, so now I have a HTML, and HTML, we're going inside the head, and we're going inside title, the Conk admin. And this is what we're testing here. So we're getting access to Conk admin, and our response is HTML content type. So that's pretty cool. So I can test with this approach. I can test multiple different scenarios. So I can test my configurations, I can test my setup, environment variables, what have you, and to make sure that when I deploy this, and actually, works fine. Just a quick check on the quick check if the stream is still flows. We see everyone is there, so we're doing Twitter. We're doing the LinkedIn, so should be fine. I don't see many questions, but hey, if you're watching this in recording, please provide some of the responses in the comments. So with this, we're switching back to where's my Scratch file? We're switching back here. So the first one, we use Groovy for writing things. Second one is the use parameterize tests for matrix, version matrix. Also, I showed you how we can test enterprise version of Conk. Test Conk Enterprise Edition. All right, next thing is that I really want to talk about. Okay, we tested everything. We tested our configurations. Now we want to start testing something serious, like deploying of our apps, deployment of our things. How I can do that? So I do have a like a small example what I will be running, but most likely we're gonna try this, and most likely this test will fail because I do have this image built with the. Let's try it. I don't know if it fails, but before. So I created this YAML file that will define my service. Last time I showed that the Conk will run inside this Docker network and expose the service through this proxy port. So I run another image next to my application, and it will be accessible next to Conk, not the application. My application runs inside this Docker image, and the Conk has access to this. And this is what I have in my config. This is how I config this this system. So if I would create a so what I want to test, if I will hit this URL, that the proxy Conk will add the proxy header. So let's run it. Will it work? Hopefully it will. Okay. Let's see if this image started. It's a native image. Everything works. So it runs through emulation thanks to help of the Docker developers. And now my service is available here. So my service is available and hidden behind the Conk. And this is how you can test configuration. Now, for each example, like I do have a basic configuration, I do have application configuration. For every time if I need to write the test, I need to write this somewhere in a file system. But we as a programmers don't want to do this. So last time I showed you, a few moments ago I showed you how you can use string to put this YAML, but it's obviously has some problems with indentations because it's YAML. This time I do have a bunch of files that I want to test. Also, I don't want to create those. So what I want to do is to do something like this. So this is what I want to do. Since this configuration has certain schema, I would like to say. So the before I join here, I will just do github.conk. If you are first time in a conk ecosystem, we have a bunch of different tools that allows you to successfully run this, and this is one of those. So it is called Deck. It's this tool, declarative configuration for conk and drift management. What is drift is when your configuration that deployed in your runtime is different from the configuration that you have in your golden source, and this can be Git repository or any configuration management system that you have. And this tool allows you to compare what you have in your golden source and give a difference between those things. And that's called drift detection. So, and Deck works a lot with declarative configuration, with the thing that we just talk about, is this conk.yaml thing. So what I want to do is to teach my test to do something similar, to deal with this configuration, but I want to create these configurations programmatically. So I took this schema from this, the conk JSON schema that includes all the different types of objects that are available, and generated just Java Pojo out of it. So it's still work in progress, so names look a little bit weird. Maybe it's my generator that takes the JSON schema and transforms this into Pojo. Maybe it is something to do with schema. I didn't have a chance to investigate, but this is the first time you've seen this, and this is actually pretty awesome. So I created this the conk YAML file, and now I can use the builder and configuring this stuff. So if you see this file, conk.yaml for quotes, right? So this one, if I'll do split, I'll show you. And if I'll do something like this, so essentially what I do here, I creating this file, I providing the format version 2.0, I providing the transformation directive here, true, and I define a service, and I have a service here. So now the service here, I also have a, for service here, I also have here declarative approach. So this is going to be like compile time thing. I can check the name, I can check the URL, and check the routes. And the cool thing, while I create this route and I created this service, I can use now conk and use the same library that I used to interrogate conk to see if this actually works. I'm using this Jackson library, which is like Java library for dealing with JSON. It actually comes with YAML counterpart. So the rest of the stuff you already seen. Today. I'm creating this file. I'm copying this inside the container, and now, so when I run this, what it will do? So let's run it. The first thing that I'm testing that if the admin API is available, but now I can test the full scenario for accessing my mock bean service. So inside my service configuration, I call this example service. I have a mock bean as my destination URL for upstream, and when I send this, I get the proxy URL, that's the URL that conk invokes. I want to make sure that the proxy works, so that's why the conk adds this via header here. I'm getting response in the form of HTML, because if you go to this mockbean, mockbean.org, we do have a HTML, and there's some of the cool things. If you've never seen before mockbean, just go explore. This is pretty cool for mocking your APIs. The next time I'll show you how you can use a mocking plugin with conk in order to do this mocking stuff. So stick around for that one. And now I'm checking. So like let's run it. Let's run it and see what we'll have here. So I'll go ahead doing this run. So the compilation, running this. Now I have the welcome message. We run Quonk. As you can see here, Quonk adds correct headers. Now, if I go and see here, and I will go to network, and I'll just do a refresh. And if I want to see some of the headers from this guy, and headers, I can see response headers include some stuff from Cloudflare and things like that. So those things are also I'm testing here. I'm checking if it's I thought I do this. I thought I do check this, but I'm checking some of the other things. So, and my head mock bin by Quonk, so works fine. And we have my welcome message, welcome to Quonk, also here as well. So that's what we're calling, and when we call in mock bin, and where is it? Should message passed. I'm not displaying anything here. Yeah, I don't have a peak here, so that's why I'm not displaying this. Now, so as you can see, during this this unit test, I can programmatically set those headers. So if, for example, if I do something like I remove this header, and let's see if my test will fail, and if the response would be different or whatnot. Now, so as expected, we get the 404. We didn't get the 200. We get to 404 because we didn't put the header, so Quonk don't know what's the how to route your request to this particular place. Now, this is how you can define the YAML file with service, with route. The next thing, and the last thing for today, no, not the last thing, but there's at least 2 more things would be here. And we still have plenty of time. And I still don't see many comments there. So please comment. If you watch this again afterwards, please ask your questions, because I would like to build this show and make it useful for many of you, like if you're using the Quonk. All right, now, so the next example, so let me close this panel. How I can close this one. Okay, so I'll remove this now. So next thing is that I am defining this, again, new configuration file with service and consumer. But this time, service also include a plugin. So I creating the same service that I created in the previous step to hit the mock bin, but also I enable key off plugin. So if you not familiar with this, you can go to docs.quonkhq.com and you go to Plugin Hub, and we're looking for something like key authentication. We're using the simple use case, and if you see here, that's how we define this plugin. So we define the plugin with key auth. And we will bind this to the service. So my plugin is created with key off, so created plugin, and enable this plugin on the service. The way how it says, enable on the service, and I'm go ahead here defining this plugin here, but I define this as a part of my service. Now, so the next time when I will try to hit this URL without any keys, what I expect? I expect get 404 from conc. Why? Because if I didn't provide the key as a part of the header, conc will give me 404. So that's how I have it. That's my scenario that I have. It's actually pretty cool. So let me run this. It's starting, up and running. Running conc, all good. All good. So that's a response. So response is 404 unauthorized. That's what we expected. And get the message. Since it's a JSON, I can parse it, and I extract this no API key found in request in this. Actually, it's not HTML path. We will fix this. Call it JSON path. Okay. So we're fixing the bugs on the fly here with the with Livestream. Yeah. So the next thing is that if I provide, so I do have a header and I provide the host header because again it's configured to parse this route. Now inside the header I'm putting this API key, and this is what I configured here in my where is it? Configured over here. That's pretty cool. Now I'm passing this key here, and after that I want to make sure that header includes the server that where the response is coming from. It's Cloudflare, and it actually goes through the conc. And when I run this, it should give me a right response to this test. Return to 2. We still have this HTML output here. We see the server Cloudflare and a C via conc. So I think that's fantastic. So now you can use this for testing your setups, not only with some simple services, but also enabling plugins, and everything can be done programmatically. So all these things can be done programmatically, and it's pretty dope. Now that's how you can use predefined YAML. And this one you can use with the YAML that you generate using DSL. Again, this right now the classes look terrible. Maybe I need to tweak some of the generation so the classes would look like something like service and route and plugin and things like that. But for now, it looks it's fine. Looks like this. All right, one last thing. So one last thing. People were asking, okay, so how I can, I'm not using Java, or don't want to use Java, I hate despite Java, which you shouldn't, frankly speaking, but I understand this. And the beauty of the containers is, like I mentioned in one of the videos, that containers is the right ones, package ones, run everywhere, and we want to run this everywhere. We want to run this in regardless what kind of language you use. And there's a thing that I start looking at a little bit, and using test containers with Go. So there is a module that is available to you as a developer. It's called Test Containers Go. So it's written in Go, and it's nice and cool and stuff. And now we also can use this with our conc container. So that's my conc container. Similar setup that we have in in the Java version. Also opinionated to run all these kind of pre-configured things. Now, next thing is that we also have this the URL to admin to admin panel, and now I can use this in a test. So the test that I created that check the status code if the output was okay, and the header response was including server. And when I run this, let's do this one, that test containers go. And when I run the go build, so I will build this first, and after that, if I run a test, well, that was fast because apparently the container is already the container is not up and running. So where did it come from? It's fast, but I didn't expect it to be fast. Let's do this one. Let's do update the version, fail this, and after that rerun this again. Okay, so it actually works and runs this fairly fast. And if I will go and fix this here, so let's do 2.7. Okay, image downloading. Okay, perfect. So now you have it. I'm not showing this to you. Okay, I'm not showing this to anyone. Yep, that's what I was talking about. So this guy. So I apologize for that. This guy. So I created a const container in Go. I set this up, the container, the way as I set this up with what are we talking about? Creating this container here. I also extending generic container, put this 2.7 version of the container, and inside my test, I'm interrogating the response, and the status should be okay, and the server also should be 2.70. Okay. Now, if I were run this, let's do this build. So we're building this, build this container, and when I run the test, container started. I have a suspicion that that's this kind of thing is there. All right, so it says it's cached. Why it is cached? It's like it runs like super fast. Yeah, that's it. But pretty much it. Okay, so we have some comments. Thank God, I thought I'm alone here. Everyone knows that NIM is about to take over web services. This year will be definitely year when the NIM will take over web services. Thank you so much for this comment. Despite of this thing that happened right before New Year, Java is still dominating platform for running the enterprise software. So unfortunately, those attempts to troll us Java developers, it happens every time. Like, you know, everyone will update it's nothing to do with the Log4j. It's about the people who use old version of the libraries. That's it. Or people who do poor choices of selecting certain libraries. Follow this live stream and this YouTube channel, and you will get the advices for running and using right tools for your for life. Again, where you can get the source code from this. Again, if you're watching this in as a recording, you can always find all the things that I do inside this const builders directory. There will be folder for, and I'm not showing anything to anyone. So you can go to this demo scene repository and find all these demos that I'm showing during the live streams here. I will put our Groovy script here as well. Take a look on test containers for Quonk. I will continue to do some of the tweaks. Next step is to add this test in database mode with the Postgres, and maybe show you how you can test things with how we call it, how to test this in hybrid mode as well. Stick around for next time. I also show how you can use a mocking plugin and how you can mock your service and design this mocking thing together with this. I also will try to implement the same ideas inside the inside this Go plugin. So if I go to test containers Go, test containers Go, maybe I forgot the repository name. Go. Go container. Yeah, you can find this here. Not much is going on here, but I will add more code going forward here. Follow our YouTube channel. Follow for updates. Enable notifications. So, like, if you would not enable notification, you would not know that I failed today and I restarted the stream the second time. Also, go follow me on Twitter. It's my Twitter. That's my Twitter down there. And ask some questions. If you have some ideas, or maybe you have some suggestions for what to show, what to break it down, I would like to listen to this one and like send me in your DM. Once again, I'm Viktor Gamov. I'm a developer advocate here with Quonk, and with this, as always, have a nice day.